Breaking right now at 3, attacks intensify in Iran and surrounding countries as stranded Americans are desperate to return to the U.S. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Annabelle Sedano. The U.S. Central Command released this new video of missiles launching from American ships, calling the strikes overwhelming and unrelenting. Iran is retaliating with drone strikes that have forced the U.S. to close embassies in Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and Beirut. And Americans are being ordered to leave, but getting home is not that easy. And after dropping more than 1,000 points in early trading, stocks rebounded, ending the day down 403 points. The cost of crude oil keeps climbing, and with it, gas prices. We want to begin with Conan Nolan. He has the latest developments in Iran and the political response in Congress. Conan, there's still so many questions out there.
Right. And just a moment ago, we talked with U.S. Senator Alex Padilla, Democrat of California, who was part of the briefing on Capitol Hill from Secretary of State Marco Rubio. The fact is, though, that the Secretary of State is changing the story just a little bit from what he said just yesterday in a previous briefing to the congressional leadership.
President Donald Trump today during a meeting with the Chancellor of Germany, saying that the U.S. started the war with Iran essentially to beat them to the punch.
We were having negotiations with these lunatics, and it was my opinion that they were going to attack first. They were going to attack if we didn't do it.
The president claims the U.S. and Israeli airstrikes have knocked out Iran's weapon detection system.
We're hitting them very hard, and the big scale hitting goes now. They no longer have air protection.
Still, the president's comments today on the timing and reason for the attack contradicts what Secretary of State Marco Rubio told congressional leadership yesterday.
We knew that there was going to be an Israeli action. We knew that that would precipitate an attack against American forces.
Rubio today said there was no confusion.
This is an action by the president to address a real threat. A real threat. This is hostilities designed to eliminate a threat to the safety and the security of the United States and to our allies.
Messaging from the White House is that the goals of the administration are to eliminate Iran's ability to wage war, develop a nuclear bomb, or export terrorism. The president was asked what could be the worst-case scenario.
I guess the worst case would be we do this and then somebody takes over who's as bad as the previous person, right? That could happen.
California Senator Alex Padilla believes that comment should concern the state's large Iranian-American population, which had celebrated the death of the hated supreme leader of Iran. That Iran's future could look a lot like that of Venezuela's.
Maduro was taken out. The regime has not changed. Life for the people of Venezuela has not substantively changed. And so for the United States to lead on this action in Iran without a clear plan for what comes next or who comes next, I think should worry a lot of people with relatives still in Iran.
Meanwhile, the war is impacting the world's energy sources, with Iran targeting the region's oil fields and shipping in the Strait of Hormuz shut down, pushing oil prices higher, in turn leading to rising costs at the gas pumps. The president downplaying the impact.
If we have a little high oil prices for a little while, but as soon as this ends, those prices are going to drop, I believe, lower than even before.
Once again, the Secretary of State saying that the attacks on Iran from the U.S. Air Force, the Air Command, as well as the Israeli Air Force are going to intensify. They believe that more destruction is on the way. I'm Conan Nolan, NBC4 News.
Hey, Conan, do you believe Iran will ever make a deal with the U.S.?
Well, apparently the Iranian effort is to make this as costly a war as possible. For the allies in the region, that's why the attacks continue against Saudi Arabia, against Qatar, and to increase the price of gasoline here. They want to put pressure on the White House by making the world around the United States very difficult to navigate. There's no way they can win this war militarily, but they are hoping to win it through the court of public opinion.
Yeah, and we are definitely starting to feel that impact. Conan, thank you so much for that. And this afternoon, the Secretary of State is urging Americans stuck in the Middle East to reach out to the U.S. government so they can arrange flights out of the region. These are the countries Americans are advised to leave. Take a look at that map. You see it right there, and they're advised to leave immediately. NBC4's Camilla Rambaldi joins us live from LAX with an update on flight operations there. Camilla.
Hi, Annabelle. Good afternoon to you. As you just mentioned, we learned this afternoon from the State Department that it's coordinating those charter flights for U.S. citizens that are stranded right now in the Middle East. And we've been monitoring the boards here this afternoon. A flight from Istanbul this morning was on time this evening, but we also did see a flight to Doha this afternoon that was canceled. Again, as you mentioned, those charter flights are being organized right now. Today, the State Department announced that it's securing those charter flights for Americans trying to leave the Middle East from the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, and Jordan. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says that they have about 1,500 Americans that are requesting assistance right now with those departures. And the Department of State also mentioned today that there is a hotline number that you can call to coordinate those departures for assistance. Some travelers reported today that they couldn't get through. Those are from some reports online that we have been seeing. And I've reached out to the Department of State regarding that number that was provided for Americans in the Middle East. I am still waiting to hear back. The Department of State is also asking all U.S. citizens in the region right now to register online for its Smart Traveler program at stepstate.gov. And we will have much more coming up here at 4:30 from travelers here at LAX. And we will also hear more from Secretary of State Marco Rubio this afternoon. That's the latest from LAX. Camilla Rambaldi, NBC 4 News.
All right, Camilla, appreciate the update there. And our coverage on Iran continues on the NBCLA app and our website, NBCLA.com. Click on Iran on the trending bar at the top to get minute-by-minute updates on the live blog. Meantime,